Hey guys, Jason here from Off the Beaten Path, and we're out here at Warren Gorge, camped here last night, and getting ready to today do Arden Hills four-wheel drive track. Now we're super lucky to be able to do this. It has been closed for the last couple of years. New owners have taken it over, and they've been sorting out insurances and a few other things. They've now got that in place, and we asked very nicely and they allowed us to go through on the track. By the time you see this video, I expect the track will be open to the public. That's absolutely their intention, to reopen the Arden Hills four-wheel drive track to the public. They need to do some work on signage and those sorts of things. So we've got the map, and I have driven it before. Long-time followers of the channel will probably remember the Arden Hills video in the Padge. So looking forward to taking the Grenadier out there today. Now apparently the track's a little more difficult than it used to be. It hasn't had the regular maintenance that it would have done if it had been open to the public. So we'll see what that's got to bring for us and what challenges we get today. But super looking forward to this one. About to rustle up some breakfast in the dot kitchen there behind me, and then we'll be hitting the tracks. Wrapping up cooking breakfast this morning before the sun pokes over the top of the gorge. Making a breakfast wrap: bacon, hamburger, barbecue sauce and egg. Should be good. Alright, so we're finally on the road heading into Arden Hills. Because we were right there, we had a pretty relaxed start to the day, and I was so looking forward to sharing this particular track with Luca. It's quite a long track. There used to be a half day and a full day track. The half day track's designed to take a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours, and the full day track is more like sort of 5 hours. I believe we did the full day track, and as you can see, the access into Arden Hills is right here off the campground. And as I said in the intro to this video, it's currently still not open to the public, but the owners are aiming to have it open to the public around March of next year, so just a few months' time. Now this is a track that starts off pretty easy. Over the back section it gets a lot more challenging and technical, but yeah, it does sort of ease you into it gently. Nice well-made gravel road here to start this gentle climb as the scenery starts to open up in front of you. A couple of skippies there. I think they're used to not too many vehicles coming through, so we probably surprised them. They weren't overly bothered by us though. As you just saw, they didn't go too far. And you can see here, like so much of the Flinders Ranges, the hilltops are pretty bare. Some of them have got a bit of grass on them like this. Any of the trees are usually down in the gullies between the hills where the water's going to naturally collect. And we're heading down into one of those gullies now. You can see how rocky the ground is. Just a really harsh terrain here. Nice little drive down through this gully, crossing what would be a little stream when there's a bit of water around. Making our way back up the other side. Again, you can see how rocky the track actually is just there. And some more skippies. he wasn't in a hurry or overly bothered by us. Just climbing up this little rocky climb here. And yes, I did probably choose the most difficult route up there.
Did you pick the most difficult climb?
That was on purpose to test the vehicle a little bit. Keep in mind, guys, at this time this is the first big trip in the Grenadier really. Haven't driven it off-road at this point a lot. So I was keen to, just test its capabilities a little bit. You can see the hills up ahead there, almost no vegetation on them. That's just how harsh this environment is. It's very hot, it's very windy, it's very rocky. And you can see here, even the track barely makes an impression on the ground here. You certainly do need the map. It's quite a massive property, and you do need the map to be able to tell where you're meant to be going. Just pulled up there to double check whether we're supposed to go through that gate or not, and we figured out probably not, so continued on straight ahead because there's a number of tracks here on the property and you don't drive them all. So again, some more skippies there. But as I said, look, this first half is a very easy drive. It's quite scenic. The terrain's not like anywhere else really. These amazing domed hills. This time we do go through the gate. So the map has really good directions on it. It refers to landmarks like the water tank and the gates there, and you've got a pretty clear idea of where it is that you're meant to be going. So obviously you get some rain here, and sometimes you can see that little erosion gully starting to form. That's definitely from water running down here, crossing this little dry creek bed. These nice little obstacles are, just a bit of fun early in the drive. And this is a pretty long video, guys, just because there's so much to see here, so much ground to cover, and I didn't want to break Arden Hills into two videos, so it is a little bit longer than even our usual long videos. I know some of you will enjoy that, and I hope as many as possible continue watching to the end. And look, as always, guys, if you like what we do and you like the stories we bring, think about liking the video, subscribing to the channel. We really appreciate that. Any and all support is greatly appreciated, guys. And you can see here ahead of us, we've got a nice drive up this hill in front of us. Some footage here from Luca. His iPhone that he was filming this on was on the way out, which is why the colours are a bit washed out. He did replace it after this trip. But yeah, we're certainly lucky. Traction on these hills is all pretty good because, if you did have a problem, it's not like there's a tree to winch off. But no, it's all very good traction. Wasn't really an issue anywhere along here. Just a little bit bumpy in places. way up to the top of the hill, and some sections of the track here through Arden Hills are very much ridgeline style driving, with a much more rounded ridgeline than we might be used to seeing in the high country. You do see a fair few of these grass trees in different areas as well. It's interesting that, you know, areas like this, they're on one side of the hill and not the other. And spots like this, the track's nice and well defined. You've got the grass trees and the grasses basically everywhere the track isn't, so it does make it nice and easy to follow the track in these sort of areas. And every time you crest one of these hills, the country just opens up in front of you. Really is quite an amazing vista travelling around this property. I suspect I was just driving along here, checking the map, making sure of which way we're supposed to be going. And again, a nice little rocky climb. Up to the top of this next hill. Quite a nice little run up here, and you get to see that range sort of becoming more apparent in the distance. Continuing on, you can see the track continuing on to the left hand side of the frame there. There are some fairly steep sections throughout Arden Hills, and there's definitely some sort of reasonably technical rocky sections as well, and this is the first big sort of descent and then climb up the other side. So I did manage to grab some in-car footage for this of the attitude screen. And as we're going down there, you can see very quickly gets up to nearly a 20% or 20 degree slope. Settling around 15, 16. Peaking there at 22. So yeah, 15 to 20 degree slope on the way down, and then flattening out through the bottom and starting to climb on the other side. You can see there in the main screen footage, nice rocky climb. Not quite rock steps, but definitely a little bit lumpy. And again, 18, 19 degrees So reasonably steep climb. And this gives you the first real taste of some of what you're going to be in for driving Arden Hills. So yeah, just hit 20 degrees there going up that little rock step, 22. And then flattening out as you get right up on the top. Nice little drive across that valley. And the zoom on the Sony there doing a good job. Luca just coming across that same section. Making good pace. And just up those last little rocky sections and joining me at the top. So from there we continue on. Again, a bit of a ridgeline drive, which gives you some spectacular views. You know, you can see there in the left of frame, you're only getting a piece of that, but the whole time you're driving around this property, the views out to the side are just amazing. Thoroughly enjoyed driving this the first time I did it nearly 3 years ago, and thoroughly enjoyed coming back and doing it again. And should I go to the Flinders Ranges again, which I probably will, hopefully it's open at that point, and I would do it again. You can see some of those steeper hills in the distance. That's what we're heading towards. Nice little descent here, crossing to the next hill. And then a ridgeline drive sort of beyond that. It does get pretty windy here at times, and you can hear that coming through the microphone on the camera. And just like that, up to the climb. So I did turn around and shoot back to follow Luca, and you can see there he's off the official track line just a little bit. And when you crest these hills and you're coming down, it's really hard to see where you're actually going. So he didn't miss that intentionally. It was just that till you crest that hill and the nose of the car starts coming down, you really can't see where you're going. Nice, easy line to follow on this side though. Very clear track over here. And the GU making short work of that. And as I said, after that little valley crossing, we've got this amazing ridgeline drive. You can see the track just crossing from hill to hill. Very rocky. And just not a lot of vegetation up here at all. Very windswept, very hot, and just very harsh terrain. Climbing this next one. getting closer and closer to those steeper hills that are close to the boundary of the property, and that's where we're heading towards, and that's where some of the steeper, more technical part of this track is. The first half of it is really a pretty easy drive, and just great scenery to enjoy. The second part is more challenging. How challenging is probably going to depend on your vehicle. Again, as we're getting close there, you can start to see some of that flat country out on the other side of the hills opening up, and that shows you where the border of the property actually is. And you can see that track up ahead, that's where we're heading. These ridgeline drives just don't get old though. Every one seems to open up a slightly different vista. And in these sort of areas, yeah, the track is really well defined and easy to follow. Coming down off that hill, we come down into this dry riverbed, and there's actually a barbecue area down here. So they did used to allow people to camp overnight on the property. I'm not sure if that's something that's going to come back or not. Little stakes there, we assumed marking the track location. Reasonably steep little crossing there, so nice and slow and steady. And the barbecue area is just up here, so you know, if you're taking it slow and steady, this would be a great place to stop for either morning tea or lunch. Just here at the barbecue area at Arden Hills. This is partway through the track, been erected in memory of Quentin Smith, one of the pioneers of four-wheel drive touring in the Flinders Ranges here. Great little spot, little bit of shade, some seats to sit under. Just come off a fantastic little ridgeline drive up there. Check out this old gum tree, hanging on to life. So great to be back here. It was a couple of years ago, probably 3 years ago I was last here, and just as good as I remember. So yeah, after a quick stop and quick drink at the barbecue area there, we packed up and headed off to continue on the Arden Hills self-drive track. And again, the exit track out of here was fairly clear and easy to find. Heading away from here, we're heading up into the steeper section of the property, where some of the more challenging obstacles will be. It's a nice rocky little climb here. Some actual bushes. First time we've seen those. A little bit lower here, and must be a little bit more hospitable. Maybe a little bit more water runs down off the higher parts of the hills here. Rock step here, and just up ahead we're coming up to the first sort of decent rock step. Long time viewers might remember me taking the pads through here, and I needed more than one go in the patch. Tried this rock step up ahead here in the patch without the rear diff lock, and it just was not going to happen. In the Grenadier, no diff locks, and we're just coming up to that rock step now. And the Grenadier just drives over it and carries on, no muss, no fuss. So just another view of that rock step there. And yeah, for whatever reason, even with the traction control in the patch, I did need the rear diff lock in to get over that. Not so in the Grenadier. And yeah, a couple of little small rock steps as we make our way up the climb on the other side of that rock step. Just a little taste there of things to come. Luca now coming up that same section. He's just coming up on that rock step right about now. Eases the front wheels up and over it, and you know, like the Grenadier, follows easily. Knowing Luca, he probably had his rear diff lock in ready for that. He does tend to put them in before he needs them. I know plenty of people with diff locks in their car work on the theory that, well, if I've got the buttons there, I'm going to push them. Luca certainly tends to engage his before he knows he needs them. Limits track damage, and also means that he gets up and over obstacles first time usually. A little bit close there with that overhead tree, and that's something we did find on this back section of the track was, you know, having been closed for a couple of years, they have had limited traffic through, maybe some four-wheel drive training groups and that sort of thing, but generally speaking it's been closed and hasn't had the traffic that it would have had. Yeah, so some overhead trees there that have grown, and yeah, as you just heard on the radio, some new little rock steps here that I didn't recall seeing from last time I was here. Nothing too challenging, but just adding a bit of interest to this little climb. But yeah, trees growing over the track, a lot more so than when I was last here was probably one of the big things that I noticed. I'm sure that's one of the things that the owners are going to address as they go through and get ready to reopen to the public, clear some of this dead wood off the track, and just ensure there's adequate clearance. You can see by the look of that tree on the left there, some storms have come through and caused us damage. So we're right up on what I believe is the boundary of the property here with this fence, at a good altitude, and check out that view. How good is that? Believe me, we say this all the time, but the camera is not doing this justice.
Here we are, over the backside of Arden Hills. Look at that view out to the west to some of the salt lakes. country just opens off, and yet still some amazing views to be had around in front of us. Looking at the track ahead, the ranges ahead of us over there, back around where we've been. Just amazing country.
And yeah, certainly is amazing country. This back section in particular is probably my favourite part. It's a little bit more technical. There's some steeper sections. Just trying to dodge those dead trees there. And there's just some amazing views as well to be had. Nice little rocky descent here. Slow and steady always wins the race. And you can see here the track just working its way down through these trees. Another close one there from that overhead tree. A little bit more open here and climbing up to the next hill. Some good erosion gullies forming here on this track, and again I don't think that's necessarily so much from vehicle traffic. I think that's when it does rain here, water running down this section of track and just eroding it. And a bit of a dead tree fall there, so headed our way around that, between that and the next one. Working our way here to the top of this next hill before heading back down. And look, the whole time you're driving this track, it's your head's on a swivel, enjoying the view and wanting to pay attention to avoid trees and other obstacles. Getting closer and closer to that rocky climb that you can see up ahead there on the left of frame. One of the main sections down the back side of the property here, so nice rocky descent here, which I just took nice and slow and steady in the Grenadier, dropping one wheel at a time down off the rocks. Dedicated cameraman there, running in 40-degree heat. So Luca's car is back at the top of that hill that I just drove down. He's certainly more eager than me. Running up hills in the Flinders Ranges in 40-degree heat to get the right shot. This is a nice rocky climb up this side. Starts off pretty straightforward. bumping pretty quickly. See, it's a bit of a rock garden up ahead there. Quite a fun little drive, that one. So just the view from on board, you can see there, decent sized rut in the middle of the track. And just how rocky it is. And how much the vehicle's actually moving. And then you pull forward up on this nice level area here. That's me letting Luca know I'm up. And yeah, he's then had to...
So Luca's just starting that descent now. The descent's not too bad. A few little rock steps there to negotiate and control your speed. You can see his GU rocking and rolling a little bit. After that initial bit, it's pretty straightforward, but then you got this climb in front of you, which is a whole different barrel of laughs.
Making pretty good time, and yeah, starting that rocky climb now.
So here he comes. Nice steady approach. Putting the wheels on the high spots.
So he's hugged the left side and made it up in fairly short work. Another one of those trees, pretty close on the track there. So yeah, it's a nice little drive, that rocky hill. See here, we've got a big erosion gully on one side of the track, so your vehicle does end up a little bit off camber driving this section, and it's pretty rocky, and a bit of a drop off on the left hand side as well, but you know, nothing too difficult in driving this. You just got to be comfortable with your vehicle being off camber a little bit for a while, and very quickly the track sort of flattens out and opens into something very drivable. Some low hanging overhead trees again. And a nice easy descent here to a fairly open corner, and then pushing on into the next section of the Arden Hills track. Here from Luca, just following me down this little lumpy little descent onto this open corner where you get a nice vista of the property up ahead. A little bit high country-ish, where you got the track with a fairly steep drop off on one side. And yeah, reasonably sharp corner there where we swing around and continue working our way down along the side of this hill. Again, this section of track here has a real high country sort of feel to it. You've got a rock face on the right hand side, a steep drop off on the left, and a nice rocky track in the middle to descend down. It's a track and little drive, this section. A little bit lumpy in spots, but nothing hugely difficult. Let the car sort of work its way over these obstacles. Decent sized rock there on the right hand side that's come off that little cliff there. Always something you want to keep an eye out for in these situations. And we're coming to the end of that section. Coming back onto a nice flat piece of track. Again, some cracking views out to the right hand side there. Once again, the track has changed. We're onto a white sort of rocky gravel here, making our way down this little section of hill here between the trees. And that's one of the things with the Arden Hills track is you get a bit of everything from you know, there's those moonscape style big rounded hills with very little in the way of vegetation on them, down into gullies with big gum trees, and then you get rock steps and rocky sections of the track, and then sections like this where you're sort of navigating through bush with smaller trees fairly close around you. So a little bit of everything. Biggest challenge here was making sure the car didn't hit the trees. They certainly have grown over the track a little bit in the last couple of years. And as you can tell, look, a lot of this track you drive pretty slow and steady. Another nice little descent here with a bit of a drop off on the left hand side. Track's actually a little bit off camber. You can see the work that's gone into building this track, just how rocky that ground is on the right hand side where they've cut into to form this track up. And you can see the sheetrock there running across the track. Does put your vehicle a little bit off camber, if you can tell there, but again, nothing too difficult. And I found the best option was to just follow the line of those rock sheets and drive through them. Now coming up ahead down here, we've got a big sweeping left hand corner, which I believe from the track notes is $10,000 corner. Not called $10,000 corner because it's going to cause $10,000 worth of damage to your car, like the $1,000 track in Tasmania. $10,000 corner because of the amount of machine time the dozer operator spent actually building this. And you can see those massive erosion gullies there right in front of me. You don't want to be dropping a wheel down in there. It is quite a sharp left-hand turn here, and turning circle is not the Grenadier's strong suit.
There we are, looking straight down the side, driving over that washout while we got rocks right there, trying to navigate down this $1,000 corner track.
So yeah, that was straight out the driver's window there. That's how close I was to those big erosion gullies. And definitely not something you want to be dropping a wheel in. They were there 3 years ago, so I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. Luca decided to cut the corner a little closer. He didn't like the idea of getting too close to those erosion gullies, and I don't blame him. And the turning arc on his GU is probably a little better as well. And then just a matter of us working our way down this little rocky descent. Another erosion gully there across the track that Luca's probably just driving over now. See, heading down into a valley here with some small trees again, just very different to the early part of the track. And it really does keep you guessing what's going to be around the next corner, over the next hill. What are you going to see? What are you going to find?
Plenty of opportunities there to get yourself into trouble, eh?
Without a doubt, but I couldn't see to my left too well, and I took the corner a little sharper, but ended up well. So, oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, once we're down that, in the base of this valley, driving along the little dry stream bed there on the left. Not a super wide section of track, but certainly enough for a vehicle. And very scenic with the grass trees and everything else through this little valley here. Really nice part of the track. At this point we're probably about 3/4 of the way through Arden Hills, and we're about to sort of climb up out of these gullies back up onto those big rounded hills that we had at the start of the track. Quite the contrast to what we're driving through here. Nice little lumpy section of track here. Shadows like that always make it interesting. It's very hard to see exactly what the rocks are doing. Old metal pipe there on the left hand side. Not sure exactly what that's from. No doubt, like a lot of the Flinders, there's probably some sort of mining activity here back in the day. As we work our way up this hill. Grass trees up on the hill on the left there, and again, just good evidence there of just how rocky this terrain is. Where the track's been cut in there, you can see all that exposed rock. Would have been quite the mission putting this track in back in the day. Bit of on-track erosion there, but again, nothing that makes it too difficult. Low tree. Luckily the GoPros are pretty resilient. Crossing over that little dry riverbed. As I've said many times on the videos on this trip, I would love to visit the Flinders when there's actually a bit of water around. It was super dry when we were here. This was filmed in early January of 2025. Another low-hanging branch on the track here. Using the very edge of the track there to get around that one. And as I mentioned just a little while ago there, we are now climbing up out of these valleys and gullies and back up onto the hills. Again, a little bit of track erosion there. Mostly though it's pretty much just rock. And you're starting to head back up towards the hills. Little rock step on the climb up here. More low-hanging branches. That one's down nearly over the whole track, so dodge between him and the grass tree there on the right-hand side. As you can see, we're about to leave all these trees behind. So, no more slalom course. Sort of feels like a little bit driving around all those trees. Keeps it interesting and keeps you paying attention, that's for sure. Just like that, the scenery changes pretty markedly, and we're back climbing up on these rounded hills. Enjoying the uninterrupted views from up here, and that's the big thing. Like if you're up on hills like this in the high country, 9 times out of 10 you're going to have trees all around you, and you're not going to see the view. Here you've got this little tussock grass, and that's it. It's like not even knee high really. And so you get to enjoy the entire vista of everything that's around you.
Here at the lookout point on Arden Hills. Gives you a bit of a look back to the more technical section of the track that we've just driven. Coming down that hill there, round behind those 2 hills and across that white section there, and the sweeping corner over there. Just an endless vista out here.
So yeah, some great views from up on the lookout there, and pushing our way on now as we're working our way back towards the exit back to Warren Gorge. A little bit off Canberra, running across the top of this hill, and you can see the track up ahead, just like a ridgeline track in the high country. So really enjoyable drive this. Now when I did Arden Hills 3 years ago in the patch, at that time I think I probably said it was one of the more difficult tracks that I'd done, and it was quite technical and all the rest of it. For me that needle's probably moved a little bit. I don't know that I'd say it's difficult. I mean, in its current form you need to pay attention a little bit, but if you've got a well set up vehicle, very, very, very drivable. Without too much fuss. Heading down here, as you can see the track opening up ahead of us.
So just heading down one of the Arden Hills sections here. That's a 22-23 degree descent. Absolutely nuts. And we've got almost a rock step coming up. 24-25 degrees. Hitting 26, 28, 30 degrees, 32.
So reasonably steep in sections there, as you just saw. Somewhere between 25
That
to 30
really
degrees.
takes the cake. 32 degree descent.
rest of this is fairly straightforward after those couple of rock steps. I will try and get more footage of the attitude gauge. It's the challenge I have is because I actually did have more footage from this trip, but I had a lot of difficulty syncing it up with the external camera footage and figuring out exactly where it was, so that's why I didn't include more of that. So I need to figure out a way to mark that a little better. You can see here, this is one of those sections where the track is barely visible. It's, you know, just barely perceptible that, yeah, this little area here is slightly different to the areas either side of it. Probably a little more defined now, but yeah, for a bit there it was very, very hard to see. Again, new view and vista opening up. As we work our way along this ridge line. Nice little rocky section through here. Which again is a little different for these ridgeline sections of the track. It's a little bit unique. And yeah, once through there, just pushing on along this ridgeline drive. So look, I'd thoroughly recommend that if you're in the area and it's open, you have a crack at Arden Hills. It's not an easy drive, but it's not super difficult. You're not likely to damage your vehicle or break anything, I don't think. And you're going to enjoy some very unique views and vistas. And you are going to have some little technical sections to drive that will keep you paying attention without doubt. But like so much of the Flinders, every part of the Flinders Ranges is unique, we found, and very, very different. And this southern end of the Flinders is very different to Arkaroola and the other areas that we experienced further north. So well worth the effort and well worth the drive to come and check this out. Basically for this section here, we're following all these ridgeline tracks until we get around to the next boundary of the property, I believe, and then start heading back down and across to Warren Gorge. It is quite an expansive property when you think about one property, and the full loop here is probably 5 hours. You know, to take 5 hours driving around your property tells you something about just how big it is. But because this land out here is just, and the climate is so harsh, you know, it's not like you can run a lot of stock here, or not like you can grow a lot of crop here. You need a lot of land to do anything with. It's a nice little rocky section here that made finding the track down nice and easy. So again, just taking it slow and steady there. So just working our way down this last rocky hill here. See the track up ahead. Even though we're descending, it's still like a ridgeline track, and look at that vista. Pretty smooth through this section. So managed to maintain a pretty decent pace coming down through here. You still find the odd little rock step like this. So you do need to pay attention. You can't just enjoy the scenery. And yeah, just cresting up on the next hill here. And again, there's the track up ahead of us. So a lot of these sections, particularly on the tail end of the tracks, it's really clear where you're going to be going. Boundary fence there on the right hand side, the track clearly winding its way up and over this next hill. You do cover a lot of ground on this Arden Hills track, and I should have taken a measurement of how many kilometres we drove. I didn't. Almost a little bit of a rock step here in the middle of this track. Just cresting this hill. And there's some great views out there to the right hand side. Big exposed rock shelf there on the left. Turn around so much in different directions along this drive on Arden Hills that you almost do lose your sense of direction a little bit, and it's very hard to tell if you're not using the GPS mapping exactly where you are. So looking back towards Warren Gorge there now in the distance. Definitely on the home straight here. As I said, this is a longer video than even we normally do, and I hope you guys enjoy this one. Arden Hills, I think, is just one of those places in the Flinders that everybody should have on their bucket lists to go and do. It's very different to all the other areas that we've been to. Again, you can see just how rocky this terrain is. That little hill you see coming up ahead is probably one of the last sort of obstacles. Not that it's too difficult, but it's a nice little climb. A little bit of an erosion gully there. Just coming down the last little rocky section of this track. See that climb up ahead, it's got a decent sized erosion gully sort of through the middle of the track. Pretty sure 3 years ago when I drove this in the Padge, I elected to span that and put a wheel either side of it, and I'm pretty sure that's the line I'm going to take today as well. You could drive one side or the other. reasonably off camber if you do that. So to me, coming straight up the middle, spanning the main part of that erosion gully, and then coming onto this rock step here was what made sense. Nice little rocky climb up here. And this section through here really is sort of the last sort of obstacle on the track. It's a pretty easy run from here back to Warren Gorge. So a nice opportunity to enjoy another little rocky climb before finishing out the track.
So which way is Luca going to come up? Yeah, he's spanning the rut like I did, I think. Like me, he's coming wide.
Look at that. And nicely done. So as I said, from there it's a pretty easy run. That's pretty much Warren Gorge straight ahead there. You can see those two hills in the distance with the gorge in the middle, and that's where we're heading to. And a lot closer here to Warren Gorge, you can see the rocks there in the hills in the distance there, as Lucas just followed me down. Coming back into the tree line here. Almost a little bit choose your own adventure as to where the track actually is, but I'm pretty sure that's the track line there on the left. And just follows around to the right of those trees.
The GoPro just ran out of video, but here we are at the end of Arden Hills, just coming out the exit gate. Lucas volunteered to be gate master.
So yeah, just exiting out of the gate there, back into the Warren Gorge camping area. You can see Warren Gorge just ahead of us there with the rocks. Short 2-minute drive back to camp, and you can see Luca's favourite little buddies there, the apostle birds, were ready and waiting for him. And as he always does, making friend with the wildlife, he's got them literally eating out of his hands. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This does bring our Flinders Ranges series to a close. And we'll be heading on with our next adventures after this. So yeah, thank you to everybody that's commented and liked these videos, and if you like what we do, please think about subscribing. We really appreciate the support. I'll leave you with Luca and the Apostle Birds, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks for watching.